Okay, guys, go ahead and attempt to solve this problem. I want you to solve it out completely. Okay, looking at this problem, some of the key words, first things first, I'm always going to underline my question, trying to figure out what the question is asking me. Some of the key words is range. And I know anytime I'm thinking about domain and range, some of those keywords is amount of, in each. And the reason why I'm doing that is, yes, it's telling me my slope, it's my rate, but it's also telling me it's counting the bracelet. So it's not going to buy, I'm not buying half a bracelet. And then this equation right here. All right, so looking at this representation and some of the keywords that I boxed, what type of representation would this question be? Would it be discrete or continuous? So because that word says counting amount of, I know that this is going to be discrete. And because it's discrete, I can eliminate A and I can eliminate B because these are continuous. So now the question is asking me for my range. And we know that our range is our Y values. So the two things that they're talking about in this problem is bracelets and money. I know that my bracelets is going to be my input independent variable, whereas money is going to be my Y. So this is what I really need to know, my Y. So the next thing I need to think about is my equation. So my equation is here. F of B equals 24 minus 4B. Well, I'm going to rewrite that equation as Y equals 24 minus 4X. It is the same thing. I am just making it friendly to be able to put it in Desmos. Okay, so now we're going to put our equation into Desmos to create a table. So my equation is there. Now I'm going to create a table. I want to get rid of those negative numbers because remember, you can't count a negative bracelet. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Keep going until my money is 0. So if you notice, we talked about it. Your X values are your domain. I want my range. So they went from 24, 20, 16, 12, 8, 4, and 0. So now going back, the correct answer is D. Another noticing is if you have a equation, plug it in Desmos, but always eliminate your answer choices. You can always eliminate by determining if it's discrete or continuous. Are they asking for your X values or your Y values? Okay, so today as we go through, we're going to mainly focus on zero and undefined slopes. In 7th grade, we saw a lot of in 8th grade, we saw positive. When you're thinking about positive, you're increasing, thinking about going up the stairs. Negative, you're going down. The main two that we're going to focus on in this video is undefined and zero. So undefined is a vertical. It goes up, down, up, down. Whereas a zero, it is a horizontal line. So think about it, if you're just walking, you're just going do. Undefined is a vertical line. So make note of that. Okay, so these are, again, when your slope equals to 0, your equation will always look like Y equals a number. And that number is wherever it crosses the Y-axis. Wherever it crosses the Y-axis. So if you struggle with understanding what type of equation matches a 0 or undefined, think about it. What axis does it cross when I draw it out or when it's presented in the graph? So slopes, as always, 0, are parallel. And remember, parallel are next to each other. They never intersect. Whereas perpendicular, it does intersect to the Y-axis. Now, when it comes to a undefined, we talked about it. It is a vertical line, and it crosses the X-axis. It crosses the X-axis. So that will also look like X equal because it crosses the X-axis and whatever number it crosses at that location. So I'm going to give you a moment to make sure you're adding this to your notes and making some notes and some aid to help you as we go through it. So as we go through each question, the first thing I want you to think about, is this line vertical? So remember, vertical is up, down. And is it horizontal? Left, right. Is the equation going to be x equal or y equal? So is which axis is it crossing through? And then is this slope undefined? So remember, if it's undefined, up, down. And then if it's 0, left, right. Okay. Let's look at this first question. What is the slope in the equation of a line that passes through the point 3, -7, and is parallel to the y-axis? So first things first. They gave me a graph, so I'm going to utilize my graph. So go ahead and plot the point 3, -7. 3, -7. So 3, -7 should be here. Okay, so it passes through the point 3, -7. And it's parallel to the y-axis. So if it's parallel to the y-axis, let's highlight the y-axis. If it's parallel, that means it won't intersect. So it will be right next to it. But remember, it has to pass through the point. So if it passes through the point and it is parallel to the y-axis, it should look like this. So going about to our think about, is this a vertical line or a horizontal line? This is a vertical line. Vertical line. Okay. Now, is the equation going to be x equal or y equal? Well, what axis does it crosses through? Does it cross through the x-axis or the y-axis? It crosses through the x-axis. So that means my equation should be x equal a number. So again, let's look at our answer choices because that's part of our cubes. We like to eliminate some answer choices. So here I'm going to focus on the equation. I know it's supposed to be x equal, x equal. So I can get rid of a because it said y. I don't care about y. And c. So now looking at it, I am stuck with the next think about. Is my slope going to be undefined or 0? So go back and think about it and look at your notes. If you have a vertical line and your equation's x equal a number, what type of slope would it be? 0 or undefined? It would be an undefined slope. And the reason your equation is x equals 3, because when it crosses the x-axis, it is at 3. It is at 3. All right? Go ahead and look at this problem. I want you guys to go ahead and solve this problem on your own. Think about that same think about process. So remember, we talked about it. Think about it. Is the line vertical or horizontal? Is the equation x or y? And then what is your slope? Okay, so looking at this question. Yes, they use the same point, 3, -7, so same spot. But this question is saying perpendicular to the y-axis. So remember, if it's perpendicular, it intersects. It does intersect. So I'm going to again highlight my y-axis. And I know that it's perpendicular, so that means it must passes through. Must pass through. So instead of the previous line, it would look like this. So our think about, is this line vertical or horizontal? Okay, I have a horizontal line. So is my equation x equal or y equal? It is y equal a number. And the reason I know that is y equal because it crosses the y-axis. So before I go any further, I'm going to eliminate my answers. I see x equals 3, x equals 3. I want to eliminate those because I know my equation should be y equals. So even if I don't know 0 undefined, let's start doing that process of elimination. So now that I know that it's a horizontal line and it's y equals a number, I can kind of narrow it down. This is a zero slope. Zero slope. So it is A. And my equation, because it crossed at the y-axis at -7, I am going to say y equals -7 is my equation. This is when they give you the graph, use it. Help it for your aid. You have School City, you can annotate and do all those crazy fun things about it. Now, looking at 3, when they don't give you a graph. When they don't give you a graph. It says, what is the slope in equation of a line that passes through the point 8, -5, and is perpendicular to the x-axis? So we know that slope is your m. Your perpendicular, meaning it crosses through. So when you don't have it, you don't got to remember the rules. Draw it out. I'm just going to draw a simple x and y graph. And I know that the point is 8, -5. 8, -5. So I know that my x value is positive. My y value is negative. So it should be somewhere over here. Somewhere over here. But even if you don't know where to put it, I'm going to show you how to go through that process. So I know that it's going here. And I know that it's perpendicular to the x-axis. So I know that this is my x-axis. And being that it's perpendicular, that means it has to cross through. It has to intersect. So I'm just going to draw my intersecting line. So if it intersects my x-axis, is this a horizontal or a vertical line? This is a vertical line. Because it is a vertical line, it crosses through the x-axis. Because it crosses through the x-axis, I know that it's going to be x equal a number. So knowing that it's vertical and it's x equal, what type of slope would this be? 0 or undefined? It would be undefined. Okay, and knowing that it's undefined and it's starting with x equal, even if you say, for instance, you don't know and you put your point over here and you just say, I just want to be able to draw it. You will look back at the point that it passes through and not only care about my x value, which in this case is 8. So even if you just want to draw it just to sketch, you like, I don't know where to put the 8. I don't have a grid. Look at your point. Just sketch it out. The main thing I care about is this part. Drawing the x and y axis so you know and you can visually see your point. Okay? I want you guys to go ahead and try to do number 4. Go ahead and do number 4. Okay, the question says, what is the equation of a line that passes through the point -6, -3, and has a undefined slope? So this problem, it gave me an undefined slope. It said an undefined slope, and it passes through the point -6, 3. They have a grid, but I'm going to do it both with the grid and without. So I'm going to draw my x and y axis. So say they didn't give me a grid, and I'm just going to draw it. X and y. So point -6, -3. I know that it's somewhere over there, but even if I don't know where it's at, I'm going to go there. Undefined. If it's undefined, will it be a horizontal or would it be a vertical? Because I know that it's vertical, that means it intersects my x-axis. So my equation should be x equal a number. Now, I'm going to go to that same point And I'm only going to care about my x because I don't care about my y. Because it's an undefined slope. And it's intersecting, it's crossing my x-axis. I am going to use the x value of my point. So x equal -6. Now, sometimes they might try to trick you and say x equal -3. But that does not make sense because if I look at my points, my y value is -3. So this is wrong. So don't be distracted by this information. This would give me the wrong answer. And then another way, if they give you a graph, use your graph. I know that it's -6, -3. Same process. Draw your undefined. That's when you have to look at those notes and what an undefined slope look like. What a zero slope look like. Okay? Go ahead and do number 5. I want you to try both methods. Try with the grid and then try when you're sketching, because when you take your assessments, you're not going to always have the grid. So I want us to get some skill with that. All right, for 5, it says, what is the equation of a line that passes through the point -3, 4, and has a 0 slope? So same thing as before. I am going to do it without using the grid, but you have the grid to still help you. I'm going to draw my x-axis, my y-axis, and I'm going to show you, even if I don't know where the point is. Ms. Martin don't know where the point should go, but I'm going to put it in a spot right here. I am doing this so I can visually see what is going to help me. So it passes through the point -3, 4, and has a 0 slope. Okay, so I know the two types is this way, and which is horizontal, and then vertical. So I know that if it's horizontal, it is a vertical. It's not vertical. So if it's 0, that means it is horizontal. So I'm just going to draw it. Now remember, I don't remember what the point was. I just know I just put something so I can see it visually on the graph. So if it crosses, it's a horizontal, and it crosses the y. That means my equation is going to be y equals a number. Y equals a number. Because it's 0, so I know that it's horizontal. So I can get rid of C and D. Because if it's horizontal, it crosses at the y-axis. So if it's crossing at the y-axis, that's what your equation is going to be. Now, I don't have the grid, so I don't know. That's why that point is going to be important. All I care about is my y value, because it's y equals. What is your y equaling to? And here it says 4. So my equation is y is equal to 4. So the correct answer is B. The correct answer is B. All right, give you time to write this down. All right, go ahead and do number 6. Go ahead and do number 6 completely by yourself. All right, it says, what is the slope, M, in equation, so you know it might be, we don't know yet, of the line that passes through the point -3, 4, and is perpendicular to the x-axis. So perpendicular means it crosses through, it intersects. Same as before, I'm going to do it without the x. Then I have the y. So I have x, my y-axis, and it says perpendicular to the x-axis. So I'm going to highlight my x-axis. So perpendicular means it intersects. So if it's perpendicular and it intersects the x-axis, I am going to put it here. Let's use a different color. So what type of slope would this be? Would this be a 0 or undefined? Would this be a 0 or undefined? Okay, so this would be an undefined. So because it is a vertical line, it is undefined. So I can get rid of A and I can get rid of B. So thinking about this, what axis does it crosses through? It crosses through the x-axis. It crosses through the x-axis. So you know that it's going to be x equal a number. X equal a number. So I am going to use my point again. They gave me -3, 4. This is my x value. This is my y value. I just care about my x value. So my equation should be x is equal to -3. X is equal to -3.